This video will cover the basics of running an AEP test on the Sierra Sumit version 3.1. When you open the navigator, go to the EP tab or All Test tab, select AEP, and double click on the test that you want to run. This is again set up as a bilateral test, so make sure you select the correct side that you're going to start with. Check your impedance and montage by clicking the Z button. When you're ready to run, you're going to first start by turning the pink knob, and that is how you'll check your threshold. As soon as you turn the pink knob, that's going to zero out the intensity and turn off the masking automatically. Increase the pink knob until you find the threshold. Once you find the patient's threshold, push down the pink knob. Pushing down the pink knob turns back on or resets on the intensity and the masking, and it sets the intensity to whatever you had it preset at and adds that to the threshold. So the delivered intensity will actually be 70 plus 27 in this case. At this point you can make any changes you want to any of the settings here, rep rate, masking, whatever you'd like, and then when you're ready to start running, you're going to hit run stop. F2 I have set to stim average. That means it's only going to click when I'm actually averaging or acquiring data. If I push F2 and set to stim on, the headphones will continue to click whether you're acquiring data or not. So I'm going to hit run. I'm going to turn rejection off just so we can get some raw data in here, and I'm just running noise on this one. Again, my gain can be controlled with the blue knob, or you can adjust individual channel gains by using the drop downs up here. Delete will refresh my average and reset everything to 0. And of course run stop will pause the average, and then run stop in the base unit again will continue the average. I'm watching the average count at the top. When it gets to 2000 it will stop automatically. You can add additional averages by just pushing run stop again after it stops. Once I get replicating responses, I can go ahead and stop, and then I want to push store, and then I want to push F4 to do the grand average. At that point I can go ahead and drag my live traces down. I'm going to right click and turn on trial selection mode so that I can grab both at the same time. And then to put my cursors on, remember if you want to just change the gain of an individual channel at this point, I would turn off trial selection mode. You can select that channel or that trace and turn the blue knob to adjust the gain of that one single trace. To do auto cursors, I'm just going to click the grand average and select auto cursors, F5. And then if I want them in both channels, I'll select the grand average and auto cursors. And then if I want to turn off a cursor, I can just right click and click on select cursor on off. Adjust the cursors by clicking and dragging, and then I'll go to my right side, and that sets everything back to 0, and I'll repeat the same steps. First I'll check my impedance, check my montage setup, and then I'll start turning the pink knob to check the threshold. That zeroes out my intensity and my masking, so now my only intensity is the threshold intensity. Once I find the patient threshold, I push down the pink knob. That turns back on the intensity and the masking, and my threshold is now going to be added to the intensity level. I can adjust any settings as needed at this point, and then I'm going to push run stop on the base unit, the run stop button, to start acquiring data. Go ahead and stop once I see everything replicating. I'm going to push the store button on the base unit, and then push F4 to do the grand average. I want to do that before I move my live traces down, because the grand average is going to show up wherever my live traces are. So at this point I can drag these down. I want to go back into trial selection mode so I can pick 2 at once. Drag these out of the way. Go ahead and click on my grand average to place cursors. So I have to turn off trial selection mode because these aren't trial cursors. There we go. And then adjust cursors as needed. Right click to turn off cursors. To print, you can just go to the reports button on the base unit or go to file and either use one of the preset reports or you click print screen to print the screen as it is. You can drag these traces off the screen, or for printing you may want to highlight just by selecting them, and typically I'd probably do trial selection mode here so we can do two at a time. So I can highlight all of these. I'm holding control so I can highlight more all at the same time. And you can right click and remove from report. Oops, I guess I gotta do one side at a time. And remove from report. And so now those won't print out when I print. If I want to just drag them off for visual reasons, I can go ahead and drag them off the screen like this as well. And to start a new run, if I want to replicate that same test, I'll open my study window. I'll right click on the test and select start new run, and now I can replicate that entire test. If I want to, go back to the study window. You'll have two identical tests. There are two tests of the same test type. You can right click and delete the one you don't want to keep. Otherwise it will probably print both for you. And those are the basics of AEP in Sumit 3.0.